I remember watching old videos. I think the girl's name was Sam Diep. She would do like what's in the case. She would interview, some professional player, and they'd empty out their case and talk about what's in it. Now, some of those were entertaining. I guess they probably all were a little bit entertaining. But I was kind of thinking, why should the pros have all the fun? Now, I don't have a Sam Diep here to do it, so I'm just going to just do my own little what's in the case. I've got both cameras running. I have a feeling that the overhead camera is going to be a little bit better than the other one because it can do better close-ups. But the first thing I want to talk about is right now my current case. This is an it's George 2x4, 2x4 shafts. I got this probably 6 years ago, something like that. I want to say. I had a case almost identical to this, except it was ostrich skin textured when I lived in Anchorage, Alaska. And because I'm retarded, oh, I'm sorry, that's politically incorrect. Because I'm stupid, I left it in Anchorage thinking, well, I'll just get it the next time I go to Anchorage. And as it turned out, it never went back. So, oh well, somebody probably found that case in the closet up there, because that's where I left it. So this is a 2x4. This is I don't know, it's some kind of textured leather. Can you even see that? But I mean, I'm sure it's just cow leather. I don't know or particularly care. The cues that go in this guy are pretty, they only go in, well, they go in two ways. They can go in joints down, or they can go in joints up. You can't mix and match, or they just don't flat out. They just flat out don't fit with 4 butts and 2 shafts. So, but that's not a big deal. So I'm going to move over here and start emptying this guy out, because it's a what's in the case, not what is the case. So let's start with the cues. I don't know if the old stuff started with the cues, but this is my main player as of late July. Southwest Custom I bought used, but it's in brand new condition. It's the first Southwest I've ever owned. It's the most I've ever paid for a cue. I think so. Yeah, it's the most I've ever paid for a cue. And I really like it a lot. Still kind of getting used to it. I haven't even had it for 2 months yet. But I have no complaints. So he came with 2 shafts. I have one that is my main shaft. And the other one is, just a backup shaft. And for some reason, even though this backup shaft is a little bit heavier, it doesn't have quite as good of a hit. So at first, this was going to be my main shaft for the Southwest. But after I put a tip on this guy, and actually got it worked on down in New Orleans, there's a Buffalo's has like a cue repair dude with a lathe and all that shit. So I had him work on it, put a tip on it. The ferrule on this was a little bit Coke bottled because somebody had gotten too aggressive with the sandpaper. I don't know if you can tell. You can't tell that much, but yeah, this ferrule actually went in a little bit and then back out, in and out. Not that much. That was an exaggeration. But now that that's straightened out and a new tip on it, turns out this does have a better hit, so that's fine. And I have a spare. I always like to have a spare shaft, because you always hear, oh, what if you lose a tip in a tournament or something? And that's never happened. Maybe not in the history of pool. I certainly never lost a tip, and I can't even think of ever hearing of anybody losing a tip. I've heard of people deciding they need to replace a tip in the middle of a tournament because their old tip sucks or it's gotten so thin. But to just have one pop off, nah. But you have two because you're supposed to have two. If you're a real player, you're supposed to have two shafts, I guess. This guy, I don't even know why I lug this around. This is a shaft to a bungee jumper. This is the butt of the bungee jumper. Now, I won this in 1999 at Super Billiards Expo. They had a deal where if you make like 3 jump shots with the bungee jumper, you get a free bungee jumper. So I got a free bungee jumper. I made the shots. I've probably used this half dozen times since then in my life. I play one pocket and I play bank pool, and jump shots are not real big in either one of those games. If I still play 9-ball, then sure. That's probably the last time I probably used this cue was playing 9-ball. But I still lug it around, I guess, just in case. And here, I think this is interesting and just a little bit funny. This is what I use for my break cue. This is a Sean, and it's a hoppy style Sean. Let me see where it says Sean right here. When I got this cue, it did not have a bumper. It was a hoppy style, so it was bumperless. And the pool hall that I play at all the time has a concrete floor. And I'm like, no, I can't take this into a place with a concrete floor and screw it all up. So I sent this off to Richard Filippi, and he fixed it. He actually added a little bit of weight. He was only like 15 ounces or something like that when I got it. I guess the old timers like the cue light and without bumpers. Don't know why. Not judging. But still got it back. I actually shopped this for a while as like my main cue. But then I got rid of the cues or went back to older. Yeah. Anyway, so now this is my break cue. I use this to break with if I'm playing bank pool. And the shaft that I use with it is just the stock shaft that came with it. But this tip is actually really light tan, but I've just colored it in with a marker. And this tip is 25 years old, 20 years old. It doesn't wear out, and I never use it. So there it sits. So that's the main pocket, the cues. And I got to get into this nitty gritty crap here. This little thing here. On each of my cases over the years, I've had this little shark deal. It's a bottle opener. I never use it as a bottle opener. I have other bottle openers, but I like this little shark, and it's kind of a way for me to identify a case. If they're received cases, all identical, and one of them had this guy, it's probably my case. Anyway, so inside the pocket, this is going to be a big mess. I use triangle chalk. I don't have a super good reason for it. I have kind of a silly reason. I used a master like most people, and I ordered a gross of master from Amazon, and I got it, and it arrived as a gross of the triangle chalk. I think they're made by the same company. I think they're very similar. I do think the triangle is just a little bit grippier, but I basically switched to start using this, so I wouldn't have to throw it in the trash and have spent that much money for nothing. And I like it just fine. It's also another way for me to kind of say, hey, that's my chalk. Don't steal it. Not that anybody would ever steal chalk. So there's another one of those. Oh, I have a leftover master in here. Don't know why, but I do. I should have several masters. So there's all kinds of chalk in here. Another triangle, another master. This is a chalk holder doohickey thingamabob that you put in your pocket. You probably can't see me. You put, and yeah, I don't use this. I probably thought it was a good idea at one point. and that's why I bought it. I actually bought that from a company in Seattle. I think they were called Beads and Billiards. Around the turn of the century I bought it, so part of it was help the local economy up there, I guess. Oh, and I have this chalk. If I find chalk that I've never seen or used before, I usually grab it. And this is some kind of Predator chalk. I probably have some over there now that I bought new, but at some point I found this. And so, well, let's try that. Then, let's see. I have a quarter. Don't know why I have a quarter, but free money. Then we can get into the tip shaping bullshit, right? Well, this right here is called a tip pick, and I probably use it more than anything else because all you have to do with this is just, there's no scraping on the tip or anything. It doesn't wear it down, but it does put the little teeny tiny holes. So I probably use this fairly often. I don't use any of this kind of stuff super often, but I have it just in case. I have the regular old Brad scuffer that everybody's always seen and knows about. Usually take this. I don't really know what the proper way is to use this, but I usually just take it and just kind of just roll a tip across it as opposed to scraping it or whatever. I usually just roll it. But yeah, I don't use it a whole lot. I also have your regular Willards. Put a line across this one to indicate to me that it is a dime radius. I prefer a dime radius. In the past I preferred a nickel radius, and I have some of those too. So the lines just differentiate it. I have a tip tapper. This is, I bet I've had this guy for 30 years. Well, you can tap, or you can just roll it like that, either way. This last thing, I reviewed a cue with a laser pointer embedded in the shaft, and I used to be fairly active in the internet use groups for, you know, pool and billiards and all that stuff, and they sent me a cue to review, and they sent me this as a gift. This is just a little leather pouch, snaps shut, you know, kind of neat, and it's got a rough edge and a smoother edge. Just rough enough a tip. So I've been carrying this around for a long time too. Again, I hardly ever use any of this stuff. I found that my tips don't get glossy or glassy or whatever. They very rarely need to be just roughened up, and if they do, I'll grab that tip pick. So that's all that's in this pouch. You've already seen a preview of the longer pouch because of the bungee jumper butt. But there's more sitting here. Just have a piece of leather. I use this kind of thing fairly often. Just a piece of leather. I'll wet the sides of a tip, you know, with my fingertips, and just burnish it a little bit. Especially a newer tip needs that a lot. Now, what the hell is this? This is a receipt for two 3/8 by 10 joint protectors. Maybe my Carmelis have a 3/8 by 10. Don't know. Probably the time looks about right. So a receipt for two joint protectors for $18. All right, so that's cool. Oh, I don't even know why I have this in my case, but I do. Just one of those doohickeys. Don't know why I have it in my case. It says players only, though, so that makes it official, I guess. I don't know why that's in there. I have a rubber band for some reason. Now I don't have a rubber band. I have this this Nick's Edge little sandpaper doohickeys, and I've owned this for a very long time. When I clean a shaft, I will generally go over it with the various. I keep holding everything down here, and I'm sorry about that. But I can see my face. I'm like, well, that's all you ever need to see. No, you don't care about my face. You want to see this shit. So this comes in various colors and there are various grades, and it tells you right there what they are. So if I have a shaft that I've been playing with, I clean it, and I can usually go straight to the yellow, which is the finest grain, because it's not all messed up already. It's not all scuffed up. Or it's already fairly smooth. Easy for me to say. And then I have, see, now here's another one. This is the same deal. This is a different brand. It's still Nick Varner, but it's the same deal. Little sandpaper doohickeys. Different color variations. But it's the same, exact same deal. This one looks like it's in better shape. But it's not like the stuff gets worn out. You can take these little, it's like a plasticky sandpaper, and you can get them wet. Get them wet, rub some dish soap on with your thumb, rinse them off. Once they dry, they're almost as good as new. They really are. Those last me forever. I have a bridge doohickey. If I go to a place without a bridge, maybe they don't have a bridge, but they do have house cues. Here we go. Or I can stick this on my brake cue shaft, for example, if I need it. I actually don't use a bridge a lot. I shoot decently opposite hand, and usually I shoot better opposite hand than I do with a bridge. Still not very good out of the way, but that's usually the case. Or I convince myself of that. I talk myself into that. Oh, you shoot left-handed, Dave. You don't need to go to all the trouble to get a bridge. I do that. And this last, well, not the last thing, the next to last thing that's in here is this little thing of powder. I swear I've had this thing since the mid-'80s. And I almost never use powder. But if I do ever go to a place again that needs it, the last time I bet I used this was probably when I lived in New Orleans in the mid-'90s. It's there, it's got powder, you just do that and there you go. This has lasted me forever. I have long believed that if you're a pool hall owner and you have one of those cones of chalk on the wall, you know what I'm talking about, those white S cones, that you have no business owning a pool hall. And if you can call yourself a player and you actually go up to that damn thing, especially with both hands, then you have no business being in a pool hall. Yeah, I could never own a pool hall because I was 86 to everybody that did that. Maybe that's what I should do. If I ever own a pool hall, put one of those cone thingies on the wall, and anybody that approaches it is immediately 86. That would be good for business, wouldn't it? The last thing that's in this case is this thing. A lot of people probably never seen this before. I don't think I've ever seen it before. But this was the first pool doohickey I ever bought that wasn't a cue. And it's some kind of a bridge thingy. And so you can go like this, put your hand in it, and then it helps you make a steady bridge. So, you know, like a learning training device, right? Also, you can do the same kind of thing and bridge up higher. You can have a bridge in this. Never seen this used in competition. Never seen it before, except in my case. But I do own it, and like I said, this is the first one. I wanted this, and I remember having to talk my ex-wife into letting me spend $5 or whatever. $5 is probably our monthly rent back then, just to get it. And so I got it, and I still carry it around. Now there's another Willards down here in the long section. It's got the line, so it's a dime radius. Kind of wondering where that is. That is my what's in the case. Bunch of crap. Some nice cues, I think. I was going to do a much longer video. I know it's hard to imagine a longer video than this one about some of the old stuff that I have, the stuff I've used in the past. Right now, this is what's in my case. What was in my case 5 years ago was definitely different. What about 20 years ago? Definitely different. Some of those old items I don't own anymore. Some of the old cases I don't own anymore. Some of the old cues I don't own anymore, which really bugs me. So I may end up doing that video at some point. Or I may decide that it's not really worth it because I think it would be really boring to everyone except me. Later.